Thanks for staying with us. So, this week is the week of love. On Friday, we'll be celebrating Valentine's, and usually is a time where the world stops to remember this issue of love and show love to their loved ones and express love in different ways. But one of the things I'd like us to talk about today is, does love really do exist? Does it still exist in the midst of all the drama that's been happening on social media in the past 1 week? We've had issues with Two-Face Idibia. We've had issues with the pastor Paul Nwokocha, who's saying that he divorced or he left his wife, or he's leaving his wife because she did some abominable things. Two-Face, who we thought was in love with this beautiful woman who we all loved, and suddenly we're finding out that there's a possibility he's in a relationship with somebody else, and that they've been separate for a while. And we're thinking, does love still exist in this our world? I mean, should we reconsider this thing that we used to read in Mills and Boone? Should we redefine it today in today's terms? Because in many homes, there's a lot of pretense. People pretend to stay together, to be truly in love. But the reality is that many homes, many relationships, many relationships are based on some kind of a transaction. You are there because you do something for me. I'm there because I get something from you. So putting all these various stories in perspective, and especially because we're supposed to be celebrating love this week, does true love really do exist in your own view? Ramatu, would you like to start?
Okay, so I think, yeah, true love does exist. What is now becoming shaky is unconditional love. Because these days, it seems like everybody's loving each other for a reason. And once there's a problem, once one thing or the other starts happening, everybody starts, of course, the love starts having conditions. There is a reason why I'm loving this person and all whatnot. So I think most of us, we go into marriage with a lot of expectations. And once our expectations are not met, that's where we'll now start having, issues and all. Right now, like this guy now, that we just mentioned, that said, they're saying that he will send the woman out.
Pastor.
All I can see from all he's saying is, first of all, I have a problem with everybody trying to come to social media just to justify reason why their marriage is not working. Come out there and come and say, I'm no longer with this person and all. When you were getting married, we were not there. When the times were so good, you were rosy, enjoying yourself, we're not there. But once it's bad, you come to social media and start expressing yourself and telling us why. All I can see from what he's saying, I just see insecurity in the whole thing. If your wife has done something really wrong, I don't think coming out to social media to come and start saying this is what she has done is the solution to the whole thing, or will make anybody out there to see you in a different light.
When I was using the word "the love exists," what I meant was that when I was trying to connect it to this Pastor Paul saying that his wife did something abominable. Now, when you talk about love, can anything be abominable? Because you think that love forgives, love endures, love is there. Love, there's something that even if your spouse commits adultery or something, there's somewhere where you can, we can rebuild this. So I'm thinking, what is abominable? So let me come to you. This is your love. Does these things really exist? Let me come to you, Mariam.
I believe that true love exists, and I believe that it still exists. One thing, of course, with social media, with media in general, or with trending news, is that when something is not working, that's when we hear about it. When it's working, people are not really interested. It's boring news. But I do believe that it exists. And what is true love, really? Because a lot of people think it's just when you meet someone and everything is going perfect. True love is even when you're going through challenges, when the person has done something that you would consider the most hateful, you're willing to walk through it with them until you finally come back, to where we are. But yes, you're right. Based on many of the stories that we hear, it seems like that is lost. We've forgotten it. And I think that has a lot to do with also the foundation. There's just this spirit and this materialistic way and transactional way that we're viewing the world and relationships these days. And of course, when you are transactional or materialistic, when that fails, the only way to deal with something that was a transaction, if it does not work, is to throw it away. Because a transaction is supposed to pay you. I give you this, you give me that. If it does not work, you throw it out. So that's why we're hearing more and more of that. So usually when I hear things like that, I want to find out what the foundation was like. Now, is there anything that can be abominable? I feel like some things can be. Pedophilia is abominable. If I'm married to you, no matter how much I love you, God forbid, I find that you are abusing my children, nothing in this world, I can never forgive that. I can, forgive you and let God and the Lord deal with you, but you can't do anything. So, but some of the things that we hear, abominable, like infidelity, it is terrible, but I think it's forgivable. I think someone had posted that Jesus himself, when a woman was caught during adultery, he said, "He who is without sin cast the first stone." So he recognizes that we're all flawed, we all commit sin, we all break each other's hearts, we all do things to each other that, that at some point may feel unforgivable, but we can forgive. At least infidelity, I feel like for many men, that's what they carry on their head, like,
everything
but
else is
yes, but we can, I believe that if the other party is willing and is truly sorry and is taking accountability for their actions, that can be resolved. But because the foundation in itself, it wasn't based on true love, it wasn't based on them loving each other and wanting the best for each other. It's like, this thing is spoiled, please throw it away, I don't have anything to do with it. That's why we're hearing all these stories.
Let me come to you. I mean, let's start with the original question. Do you still think this love thing exists?
Yes, so I think it still exists. I mean, I love my partner, and
I love my husband.
So, I mean, I don't think... maybe there are some... Like this pastor, for instance, well, what he says is what I read that he's supposed to have seen his wife do. I guess he feels he can't forgive that. I would find it difficult to forgive someone for that kind of thing. So it's not that it doesn't exist, but yeah, there are sins that you can say, okay, I can't call it sin because it's against our Creator that we sin. I can't sin against a fellow human being, but you can offend me. And it's that offense that maybe I can't forgive. So it's not that it doesn't exist, but because I mean, I don't want to put the relationship in full view of it. But when I see my nephew and his wife, the way they do each other.
Okay, so YK, let me now bring that conversation to where you are, because there are lots of people who are considering what you have, YK. They're saying that they'll rather have a partner who they can truly love than have a marriage. Because this marriage kind of ties people down. Because now, like a two-phase, I mean, the whole drama that happened, many people are saying, is this thing we call marriage that makes you feel like this is it? And it kind of cages people. But if we have a situation whereby we are committed to each other, we are two responsible adults, say, you know what, we don't need any document or any imam or pastor to tie us. We are two adults. I'd rather that than knowing that I'm tied to somebody, that many homes or many people are considering partnerships than proper marriage. What do you think about that?
Okay, for me, well, YK has like the full, she can tell us how it's different. Because I see her and I don't see what she's doing that is different from what married people are doing.
Well, she has her weekends to herself. She wants to. She doesn't want to see somebody's face.
Yeah,
I don't want to see you this weekend, and she's fine.
Yeah, but there are some marriages that work that way.
Yeah.
There's some marriages that the husbands and wives don't even see each other for years until when somebody travels to see another person. There's another marriage that works, only at weekends they get to see each other. The only difference is that the paper was not signed. So sometimes I think when it works in partnerships, when it works for me, it just looks like marriage.
But it's psychological also. When you know that, listen, if I need to move, I gotta move.
So that's what I was going to say. So for me, maybe the difference is with marriage, that signing says, for me, it's like, I pre-forgive you for whatever that may come. Whatever it is that may happen in the future, I have decided that we will deal with it within marriage. I think with partnership, it opens the options that if you do something, at least there's nothing tying me to you, I can walk away. So it's like the marriage seems more like a commitment, recognizing that the differences that we have, or some of the challenges that we have, we are going to sort it out because this is forever. But the partnership recognizes that I can just walk away whenever I feel like. And honestly, even when as I'm talking about it, I still don't see what the difference is, because now we have what we have. We have the option of divorce. If it's so terrible, if it cannot work out.
In Christendom, you don't allow us to be divorced.
But even in Christendom, they say if you are unfaithful, you can divorce. So it's, you know, so we can, you know, you can. But I just feel that these differences don't matter if it works. And you have to want to make partnerships or marriages. If you do not have, if you're not committed to each other, neither of it will work, and none will fail.
That's the key word you said, commitment. Because no matter what happens between two, we cannot just walk away from each other, because we have been together like 17, 18 years. I can't even remember how many years, but we've been together quite for a number of years, so we cannot just walk away from each other. There has to be something really major. So even though we haven't signed any paper, it's not something that I can just say, you have annoyed me, I'm going, or you will say, I've annoyed. No, you know, so it's commitment. So that's the key word. So even in marriages, people walk away from marriages. I walked away from my first marriage, you know, because I wasn't happy, and I was and I left. And people, and there was everybody came to talk to me, and I was just looking at everybody like this. Okay. So people walk away. Nobody is tied down. It is whether you are committed spiritually and in your mind.
Okay, so I think partnerships works mostly when you are older, kind of, and sometimes when you when you leave your marriage, you are now more experienced, and you know how to handle issues and conflicts when they come up. Like, okay, if for example, if I put myself like in something like that and I leave the partnership, whatever, is going to be much better. I'm going to be, you know, because from my experiences, from better. Yes, the experiences I have had at this point. Because you know, in marriage, the thing is, all of us, we come together. Everybody wants to come and try to change the other person. Meanwhile, we're supposed to come as individuals. This is Ramatu. She came. She likes this. This is what she likes. And then this is this person. This is what he likes. You know, that's the point. Anytime he wants to do his own thing, let's respect that one and let him do it. And then whenever I want to do my own thing, let's respect that and do it. So with partnership, it's easy for you to do that. But in marriage, no, we're supposed to do it together. We have to meant to be one. You see, wear me, I want to wear my dress. Say no, this is the wrapper that you are going to wear.
That is exactly why many people, and you're right, especially for second marriages. Many people say, I've done the first one, I've left. Now the next one is not going to be a marriage, it's going to be a partnership. Because I am not going to this paper, let us tie ourselves. No, I need that kind of independence, because I'm a whole person. I've rebirthed myself. I'm stronger, I'm more knowledgeable, and I want somebody who is equally at my own level to be with me. And I don't want to go into his own terms. Both of us are coming on our own terms. So I'm seeing YK is a serious model. I will see, and a lot of people YK, at least I've known two people who have come to me and said, if I'm going to marry again, I'm going to do YK style.
Yes.
So YK, you probably started a movement that a lot of people don't know. You started
the YK law.
The YK law, because there are lots of people who are already considering, because you are happy, you're glowing, YK. How many 64-year-old women are doing like this? It's hard to find it, because many of them have been forced to stay in that Mr. and Mrs. Labaja, and they are there because they're there for mom, they're there for their children, they're there for security, they're there for different reasons. They're not whole. They've subsumed themselves into this family role or this wifey role. They're not YK. YK is her person. So we are now seeing you are like, maybe it's worth considering.
You know, listening to both of you now, you know, I started saying I don't see what the difference is. And I think I see it now based on what you said. So the difference is that in marriage, you're expected to be one. We're to become one. And we have romanticized it, and it's supposed to be, we'll think alike, we'll do everything alike, right? And I remember as a young girl, I was sitting down with some of my friends, and then they were still in their honeymoon phase, and they used to always dress together, and I remember saying, oh, this is the thing that scares me about marriage. I can't stand to dress the same. And they looked at me as if I was weird, like, what's wrong with you? And I used to also say that if when I do get married, I would like to have like different rooms. So these are the things. And, you know, thinking about it, my husband is in his second marriage with me, right? And I think he also came into this marriage with a very strong sense of individual self.
Yes.
I am who I am, and then allows me to be who I am.
Yeah.
So I can now see the difference, really, if I will now compare it to two young, in love, you know, fresh out of school or something, who have decided that they have to be in each other's skin and each other's being, and
everything.
And so when something does not work for the other, it will be such be an inconvenience at its best, or you know, just gets really bad. So that is the difference. So maybe that oneness that we're talking about is not possible, it's not sustainable, and it should really be about two individuals knowing that they are strong differently, but then they meet at some different points for each other.
Exactly.
Now when we're going to break now, we'll come back, we'll now focus a bit on the Idibia story and even this, because these are two people. This young 15-year-old girl fell in love with this guy. All the drama happened. They got married, and then she felt like, okay, I'm now with you. But imagine if she was her person, have found her person, and then was have a partnership with Two-Face. Maybe what we're going through right now, they're going through right now, will not be going through it. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.